Jefferson Bethke's ministry, 45 million YouTubes, and you are like the rap preacher.
I guess you could say it that way, but yeah.
I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
You've never seen anything like it, so let's take a look at it right now.
What if I told you Jesus came to abolish religion? What if I told you voting Republican really wasn't his mission? What if I told you Republican doesn't automatically mean Christian, and just because you call some people blind doesn't automatically give you vision? I mean, if religion is so great, why has it started so many wars? Why does it build huge churches but fails to feed the poor? Tell single moms God doesn't love them if they've ever had a divorce, but in the Old Testament, God actually calls religious people whores. See, because religion says do, Jesus says done. Religion says slave, Jesus says son. Religion puts you in bondage while Jesus sets you free. Religion makes you blind, but Jesus makes you see. And that's why religion and Jesus are two different clans. Religion is man searching for God. Christianity is God searching for man, which is why salvation is freely mine and forgiveness is my own. Not based on my merits, but Jesus' obedience alone. Because he took the crown of thorns and the blood dripped down his face. He took what we all deserved. I guess that's why you call it grace. And while being murdered, he yelled, "Father, forgive them. They know not what they do." Because when he was dangling on that cross, he was thinking of you. And he absorbed all your sin and he buried it in the tomb, which is why I'm kneeling at the cross saying, come on, there's room. So for religion, no, I hate it. In fact, I literally resent it, because when Jesus said, "It is finished," I believe he meant it.
So Jefferson, how did it all begin?
That was actually a poem I wrote for an open mic at my non-Christian secular college. Thought I would just perform it in front of a couple hundred students. I didn't actually have the time to do it. I graduated, and then we thought we'd put it on YouTube just to kind of put it out there, and then obviously things got a little crazy.
You're like the YouTube preacher, so and it's proliferated since then. I mean, why hate religion but love Jesus? Here's 26 million YouTube, sex, marriage, fairy tales, our tattoo sinful is secular, evil music. Tell me about what your ministry is.
Yeah, so for me, I mean, YouTube is everywhere, right? It's like, it's almost like, the way I like to think about it is YouTube is taking whatever content you want, honestly, to someone's bedroom. It's like there's no barriers, right, with the internet. And so for me, I thought that would be a great outlet for Jesus. And I don't want to just be this gimmicky person who rhymes a little bit and then does stuff about Jesus. I want to bring a depth and a fullness of biblical literacy to my generation. And so when you do watch my videos, I try to take a concept for each video and really just go to the scriptures and say, what does this say? How can we think about this differently? Stuff like that.
Your latest book, Jesus versus Religion, why he's so much better than trying harder, doing more, and being good enough. Why that topic?
I think we're kind of on this shift, especially in the Western world, with, first of all, what that word means, and also this idea of what is Christianity, like what's the essence of it, what's it coming after. And for me, I grew up thinking Christianity was don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And so then because of that, I just kind of said, see you later, the world sounds a little bit better. And it wasn't until college I saw Jesus for who he truly is and what Christianity truly is. And the way I like to explain it is I saw Jesus was very upside down when he came. Like, it was so unique and so upside down, his kingdom and his mission and his vision, that I just wish we preached a little bit more of that. The way I like to think about it, and I talk about it in the book, is religion, all other world religions as a matter of fact, and sometimes our distorted view of Christianity, is you have to do this, this, and this, and it's all about what you do. But real Christianity is about what Jesus has done. There's like a declaration element to Christianity that it is done, it is finished. That is the good news of the gospel, and when you receive that and you sit in that, then man, it brings joy in life.
And there's a biographical element to the launch of your ministry. Tell us about where you came from.
So I was raised in a broken home. I was raised by a single mom, love her to death. I was raised in kind of a poor socioeconomic status, and so with that, that was another thing too, is I went to church a little bit. I knew the culture, but with my home being so broken and so many struggles there, I didn't really see Jesus as relevant, if that makes sense. And again, it wasn't until I started following him in college that I saw he actually does answer those struggles and stuff like that. But that's kind of where I came from.
Yeah, we read about the rise of the nuns, NES.
Totally.
It's a big group.
Yeah.
You target that group?
Yeah. And
we might define what nuns
Yeah,
mean.
so nuns just mean someone who affiliate with none.
Group.
People say, well, it's more agnostic, really. It's just people, the growth of people saying, I'm not really anything. I just don't really want to believe anything. I just want to do my life. And honestly, this is a little kind of scandalous, but the rise of religion, or the rise of people saying they're Christian, is declining, and then the rise of the nuns is going up. Now, I think that's good news, and let me tell you why. I think outside of the Western world recently, there's only really two categories in society, and that is you are a follower of Jesus or you're not. The Western world, because you don't really get shot in the head for saying you love Jesus, there's this weird dynamic where, the way I like to think about it is like circles, right? So there's this big circle of non-Christians, and then you kind of zoom in, and there's this other circle of people who would say they're Christians, but when you read the scriptures, you have a real struggle with that. And then there's this bullseye of real followers of Jesus. And I think Christendom as a whole is declining, is failing, and all that is doing, that I see, is kind of killing that middle circle, which honestly I think is fine, because then it gets a little less confusing, and we can really talk about, are you a follower of Jesus or are you not?
I watched your YouTubes, and you speak against legalism, and you speak against a personal relationship.
Yeah.
Why are you so enunciated?
I think, if you think you can earn God, if you think you can just do X, Y, and Z to get to heaven, that's pretty much spitting in the face of Jesus and saying your cross isn't necessary, I can do it on my own. So, it doesn't get much more offensive than that, right? So that's kind of why I chat about it from that angle. Now, legalism isn't just a person who, like a church that just plays organs, or a church that's kind of old and traditional. Legalism is any stature of the heart that is trying to add something to the grace and mercy and work of Jesus. So it can also be seen in my generation, where I call it reverse legalism, where my generation will say, well, they just play organs in church, so we're only going to play electric guitar. They only wear suits, so we're only going to wear skinny jeans, whatever it is, right? And with that, you're still defining yourself as what you're against rather than what you're for. That's still the same thing.
You also speak against this litmus test that
Yeah.
I don't smoke, drink, cuss, so I'm godly.
Yeah.
And I forget about the guy on the street that's starving to death and nobody's alarmed.
Yeah. Well, that's straight from the words of Jesus, right? He says, you tithe your mint, your dill, and your cumin, but you neglect the weightier matters of the law, like justice, faithfulness, and mercy. And it's like we have it so backwards, right? We have it so backwards. And again, in America, I don't know how it is here, but people are very easy to talk about legislation with certain topics rather than, hey, how about you go talk to your neighbor across the street? It's a little harder and a little more awkward, but I think there's more fruit there.
And you have an aversion to the political deal because we've polarized people right away from the gospel?
Yeah, no, there's a tension there too. I was a politics and government major in college. That kind of 4 years of studying, it made me sick of it, I'll be honest. But there's this idea where I think Christianity has, honestly, the only word I can think about, has been fully prostituted by politics and by culture. We've kind of been used and abused in these other domains. Now, with that, we don't want to swing the pendulum so far out of the way where we just go into the woods and just light fires and don't talk to anyone, right? And just kind of camp out until Jesus comes back, right? Scriptural theology is that God owns every domain of life: art, food, politics, culture, etc. We're to infect those domains and speak prophetically into them and say, this is why Jesus is a better answer than maybe what you're offering, but we need to do it in a way where we're not slaves to the systems, but kind of speaking over them.
Now we've got parents and grandparents watching whose grandkids or kids have turned off.
Yeah.
And this book could turn them on, Jesus versus religion.
Yeah.
Tell them why they need to get it, how it can be used.
For me, I really wanted to stay sharp on authenticity with the book, which I think is something my generation gravitates to. I think we kind of have seen so many fakes or so many kind of things that they would say one thing and then not. So we really gravitate towards authenticity. Now, that was hard for me to be that raw and honest, but through that, I've already been getting some emails and stuff of people saying, man, it's to know that you have freedom to be that honest because you are loved and you're secure in Jesus. that shows him as really beautiful and unique, right? And so that's why I think hopefully it can be a blessing to my generation, and not just my generation, but everyone else.
And in Tacoma, you're in a context of ministry. You want to explain?
Yeah, so I'm taking a little time off right now actually for the book, but I'm on the board and also help teach every once in a while at a college ministry called For the King. And that is based in Tacoma, Washington. My friend started it and I kind of came alongside him and helped a little bit. And we just want to walk with college students. For me, college, a lot of churches actually, college students is the people they concentrate on least because, hey, they don't tithe, they don't give money, and they don't really come, you know? And for me, I think it's actually, we should concentrate on them the most because the college dynamic is actually set up most for making disciples. You are naturally going to be in a close proximity for 4 years, and then naturally when you graduate, you're going to leave all across the world, which that's the disciple mandate, right? Go to all nations. So how about we use those 4 years, shepherd, guide, disciple, teach, and train, because as we all know, that 18 to 22-year-old framework is usually when we're thinking about those questions the most, and then hopefully at the end, man, send them out.
Jefferson Bethke is with us, and his book is Jesus versus Religion. It's available in our e-store. You have a unique ministry. I got to tell you, I was captured by these YouTubes.
Thanks, yeah.
And what's the plans for the future?
I'm not totally sure. I'm kind of like this artistic guy, just, not really know what I want to do tomorrow even. But I really like being creative, and I really like making people think about Jesus in a different light. So whether that is a book, a YouTube video, whatever, I just kind of want to keep doing that.
Excellent book, great creativity.
Thank
We're
you.
so honored you're with us, and we encourage our viewers to go to our e-store and get Jesus versus Religion. Go to YouTube, Jefferson Bethke.